Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second Tiger Talk of the summer. So glad to have you here if you were watching us live or if you're watching us later and getting all of this information. So my name is Lindsay Bray. I am with Parent and Family Services. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second Tiger Talk of the summer. So glad to have you here if you were watching us live or if you're watching us later and getting all of. So sorry, everyone, for that brief interruption, learning the new technology that is all of the things that we are doing right now. So thank you again for joining us. So sorry for that again. We'll get started as well. So my name is Lindsay Bray. I am with Parent and Family Services here at the University of Memphis, and my sole job here at the University of Memphis is to help you help your student. So questions, concerns, anything like that that you ever have for your student from now until when they graduate or even after they graduate, that is what our office is here for, is to really help you and make sure that you and your student are successful while you are part of our Tiger family. So a little bit more about our office. So our mission in our office is first and foremost to support, inform, and engage parents with the University of Memphis community. We want you to have that information. We want to make sure that you have opportunities to be engaged and involved. We know from research here on our own campus and across the country that students who have parents and family members who are involved and know what's going on campus and connected in their own way to campus do better. So they get better grades and they graduate faster. And we know that you want to see that just as much as we do. So here as well, part of our mission is to advocate for that family involvement. We want to make sure that there are those opportunities for you on our campus to be involved and make sure that everyone else on our campus also knows the benefits of having you involved and having you as part of your student's life and their educational journey while they are here at the University of Memphis. And so lastly, it's to provide those opportunities. So we'll talk a little bit about those opportunities of ways that you can be engaged and involved here as part of our Tiger family, but we want to make sure and provide those for you as well. We've got some really great opportunities, and we'll talk a little bit about this in this presentation, but a little bit about those later on in the summer as well. And so when we first, as my caveat is, when we talk about family, we mean everybody. So whether your family dad or your student's family is aunt, uncle, grandparents, cousins, guardian, sister, brother, anything, anybody who is part of their support system and part of kind of their educational journey is part of this family. And so we want to make sure that you know that if your family is not a mother or a mom and a dad and very traditional, you're still part of the Tiger family and you're still very much part of this connection piece that we want to make sure as well. So who are we? So you can see my face. So I'm Lindsay Bray. I am the senior coordinator here at the university. And I have been with the University of Memphis for almost 11 years now. It's kind of hard to believe it's been that long. Time flies when you're having fun. So I have been here. I earned my master's from the University of Memphis and have really and have worked with parents and families the entire time. Our other staff member in our office is Rachel Duvall. So she came to us about 2 years ago, and she is a lifelong Tiger fan. So she grew up here in Memphis. She went to the University of Memphis to get her bachelor's degree. So she knows all of those things as well and can give you some good inside scoop as well. It was even a Tigerette in the band for a few years. So we're really excited to be here for you as part of this crew that can really provide what you need. You can also kind of think of us as your own personal Google. We are really here to answer your questions, concerns, anything like that. So if you're ever unsure of where to go anywhere on this campus or really anywhere in the city, if you've got a question, let us know and we will be here for you. So you can think of us as your Google. So about your student and what is going on with them. But it's really important to know and understand what you're feeling as well. So some of you may be really, really excited about this transition, particularly over the last few months. Your student has probably been at home with you a lot more than they normally would have. So maybe you're really excited for them to come onto campus and kind of get out of the house. Some of you may be really, really sad that your student is leaving, particularly after the last few months. You may have gotten into new routines and new kind of happy norms as a family. And so you may be feeling a little sad, maybe freaking out just a little bit, and that's okay. All of these emotions are okay, but it's really important that you as a parent and family understand that this is also a transition for yourself and not just your student. So it's a transition for you and for your family in general. So we encourage you to acknowledge that and make that a part of and letting us be part of that so that you too can work towards that connection. So many of you may have ever heard of a helicopter parent, snowplow, bulldozer, anything like that. And so those are the types of parents that are often talked about in our kind of lexicon of culture. But really, at the end of the day, they really provide a poor representation of what parents are. So they usually come at it as a negative, as something parents shouldn't be doing. So instead, we'd really like you to think more in terms of a tandem bicycle. So we really want you to think of your relationship with your student like this. Since they've been little, you have been on the front of the bike with them. So you have been guiding them. Their legs didn't always touch the pedals. They were really kind of part of this journey, and you were really guiding them through all of that and making sure that you signed them up for swim lessons or piano or dance classes or sign them up for sports. You wanted to make them a well-rounded person who had these experiences, and you were guiding that through all of it. So they got a little bit older, their legs got a little bit longer. You're still on the front of the bike, but maybe they're starting to give you feedback. Maybe they don't want to do swim anymore, or they want to go over to soccer instead. They don't want to go to summer camp anymore. They're a little too old for that. Or, they really want to try something new. So they've been part of this, and over the last, many years, they have really been kind of starting to guide their own journey as well. But you've been on that front of the bike. So now that they are here at the University of Memphis, this is their chance to kind of switch seats a little bit. So they're going to be on the front of the bike, guiding their next part of their journey here at the University of Memphis, but you're on that bike with them. So you are there for them. You are part of those really tough hills that are gonna come. So whether that's a class that's going to challenge them, or that friendship that's not going to go so well, or that romantic relationship that may fizzle out early on. So you're there to help them kind of get up those hills, but you're also there for the really good parts too. So you're there when they've studied so hard, but then they get that A or that B in that class that they worked really hard for. You're there for those successes of when it comes to getting that internship or that job. So you're there as part of that journey, but you're going to let them now kind of guide that relationship and really be on that front of the bike and moving forward. So we really like to think of it as well as a pretty easy equation. So in order to achieve student success, we want all of our students to feel connected to the University of Memphis, be engaged and involved in some sort of way, and to be supported in what they're doing here. And your student will get all of those things while they're here at the University of Memphis, but you also fit into each and every one of those and are an important part of that. And we want to make sure that you feel that and know that. So that connection piece is being connected to our office and being connected to the university. So having that knowledge that you need in order to help your student and fit into that support system so that you can help support them as well. They're going to turn to you. We know they're going to do that. You have been their go-to person for the last 18, 19 years. That's not going to change. So we want to make sure that you have that and you feel connected so that you can provide that support. So the engagement and involvement piece, we will talk about that later in the summer as well as part of one of our Tiger Talks. But that's also an important piece. So we have events that you can be a part of. We want you to feel part of our Tiger family and be part of that as well. And so all of those things, you being involved and your student being involved here on campus, and each and every one of those equals their student success. So that equals doing well in school, school, getting a good education, and also graduating, which we know you all want to see just as much as we do. So to really kind of think about making sure that you understand that student success piece and how you can fit in space in their first semester or their first year, or even sometime during the entire 4 years. So one is going to happen right now. So we all are dealing with a lot of stress right now with everything that is going on in the world right now as we kind of navigate this new normal. And on top of that, your student now has this big transition in their life, which would be a huge stress on them alone with that, not let alone everything else that is going on. So be aware of that. So you know how your student deals with, they need to sleep a little bit more, maybe they're going to have a little bit of a tantrum, they need to spend some more time with their friends, social distancing, of course, right now, but help them work through that and understand that there is a lot more stress right now when it comes to making this transition to homesickness is a really huge one as well. So particularly if they're living on campus, and understanding that. So being there to support them through that, but also encouraging them that one of the best ways to get kind of through that homesickness is also to stay on campus and get to know people. It's really hard sometimes to do that, and it feels scary, but it's also really important for them to build that connection, and so help support them through that as well. Academic challenges. So maybe your student breezed through high school. Maybe they had a little bit of a hard time. Either way, your student, when they come here, is going to have some sort of academic challenges. They're going to struggle in some sort of way. And it is important to know that and to help support them in that. Help them find those resources that they need. So whether it's our tutoring services, or getting connected with a friend or a friend here on campus, or going to talk to their professor. Encourage them in those ways, but know that that is a struggle that may happen, and that it will come to kind of help work them through that. So finding their identity. So college is a huge new world. Much like if your student transitioned from middle school to high school, it's a little bit different, obviously, because we're dealing with a whole new set of people. But this is a really new time for them to find their identity, to find new friends, to find their place again. They may feel like they're a little fish in a big pond. Just really kind of support them in that. It's a hard struggle for some of our students. Some students do it really well, and some of them struggle. So understand that finding their identity may be a hard point for them, and help them through that journey of kind of finding new friends, and maybe not those friends not working out, or finding a new group and things like that, and encourage them to get out there more and more so that they can find that. So coming back home. So this is also a really big one. So we send students home for a long time between our fall and spring semesters. So this is different. So they have been an adult. They've been kind of acting kind of like an adult for the last 3 to 4 months. So coming back home can also be a hard process for you and your family and your student. So things may have changed. If you have siblings that are at home, navigating those new dynamics of, oh, big brother or big sister is back home. So understand that and know that, you may be apt to just say, well, all the same rules still apply. Think about that as you kind of work with your student and move forward, in kind of changing your relationship with them. So much like that tandem bicycle, you want to make sure that there is a place for them to really kind of move forward and create their own journey. So have those conversations. So it's important when we kind of talk about all of these common issues to also talk about the conversations that you should have with your student as well, before the semester starts. So we highly, highly encourage you to do that this summer. So talk with your students, sit down with them. So maybe you have other kids in your household. So take your student out to dinner. You or your spouse or other family members who are going to be part of their journey and part of these, have that conversation, but have it one-on-one and really kind of make it part of what you want to do moving forward. So one of the reasons that we really, really really highly recommend that our families do this with each and every one of our students, is that the one thing that we know that many 18 and 19-year-olds do not have much of is common sense. So you may have an expectation to see their grades or talk to them all the time or things like that, but they don't know that unless you tell them. So make sure that you're having that conversation before school starts, and have it early and often and before each and every semester. So one of the big things that you should have a conversation with is a communication plan. So how often do you expect to talk to your student? How often do you expect to text with them? Have those conversations. What are they comfortable with? Know in that the demands of college are a bit different than high school. So, they may be in class and their professor is very adamant that they cannot be texting. So know that they may have a little bit of a delay. Do you expect to talk to them? So maybe you text regularly with your student, or maybe you have a student that doesn't like to talk much on the phone, but you want to make sure and talk to them at least once a week. To this day, my husband, who went to college long ago before text messaging existed, talks to his parents on every Sunday night. That's what worked for them. That's what they set up when they started. So just make sure that those expectations are clear. Grades. So this is a huge one. We do not have a platform on our campus that allows parents and family members to see a student's grades. But what we encourage you to do is to talk to your student. So have that conversation before the semester begins. So say, I know that grades are final the Thursday after final exams. The grades are final the Thursday after final exams. And I want us to sit down on that Thursday with popcorn and a Coke. We're going to sit down and look at your grades. So you say that when you drop them off. You say that when they come back from fall break. You say that at Thanksgiving. You say that each and every time that you see them and you talk to them, so that they know what your expectations of them are, so that there is no question on the Thursday after final exams of what you expect of them, and that you expect to sit down and see their grades. And at the end of the day, what you know is that if they won't show you their grades, they're not very good. So if they're still going to be like they were in high school and in middle school and preschool, they're going to want to put those big, huge things on your fridge still. They want to put that A and that B test that they get on that fridge, even if they don't get it. So they're going to want to brag to you and want you to know that they're doing well. So know that if they're not talking to you about the grades, that's not a good sign. So finances. So this is a big one. This is a really big part. So maybe you are able to help your student with college. Maybe you are able to cover the entire bill, or they've got some scholarships and you are making up for it. You can help with giving them an allowance, or helping them with some spending money. But have that conversation now. But maybe you're not. Maybe you can't help with those things, and that's okay. So maybe they need to prepare to get a job on campus while they're here, or figure that out. So it's important to kind of have that conversation and help them manage that. If you are able to give them spending money or help them out with that, let them know, and help them budget, help them learn how to budget at this point in time. This is a great time to kind of learn those basics if your student's not already used to doing that. So give them to it monthly, or even by the semester as well. So help them learn those skills at this point. This also really goes into self-management. So understanding how to do laundry, how to pick up after yourself, those little things that really mean being an adult. So help your student kind of have those conversations about what it means. You've seen your student at home right now. In particular, they're home a lot. So you can kind of see maybe what they need a little bit more help with. So take this opportunity to make that transition over the summer for themselves, to really make sure that they are prepared to be living on their own, particularly if they're living in the residence halls. As well, talk about grit and resiliency. So we talked a little bit about those academic challenges that your student may be facing, but what does that really mean for them moving forward? So how are they going to kind of take that challenge and really move forward? Are they going to be able to get through that, or are they going to want to quit? Have those conversations that it's important to keep trying. It's important to keep going, and kind of move through things that challenge you, because they make you better. So have that conversation as well. So lastly, really kind of when to ask for help and that it's okay to ask for help. There is nothing wrong with your student utilizing our tutoring center, our writing center, counseling services, any kind of help that is available on this campus. We want our students to take advantage of. It is here to help them. And we want students to feel comfortable doing that. And I think that's really important for you to help them feel comfortable with that as well. Encourage them to take advantage of those resources that are available to them. And that really goes to that grit and resiliency. When they kind of come up against those challenges, encourage them to go ask for help, and make sure that they know you having the information that you do, you can help them with that, or you can give us a call and we're happy to kind of direct you in the right place. But that's really important to kind of help them know that it's okay to ask for help. So a few things your students should do in the fall, because we want to make sure and give you some great actionable things that you can really help your student do. So encourage your student to get involved with a student organization. So whatever fits them. We have over 250 organizations on our campus. And if they don't find one that they like, they can find 9 other people that they can start their own. So there is a vast majority, there's a vast array of organizations on this campus. So we encourage them to get involved in some sort of way and kind of dip their toes into that and really kind of get to know other people. So meet with their academic advisor. Registration for spring starts really, really early, a lot earlier than I think some students realize. So encourage them to meet with their academic advisor early, so that they have their plan for the next semester, so that when registration does open, they can get the best classes and get exactly what they need. Build those relationships with faculty and staff. So this one is really important. You, I'm sure, know from being a professional, know that networks are everything. Your friends, your colleagues, coworkers, anything like that, you know that there are always people in your life that you can call on and be like, hey, I know you know something about this. So where can I get your help with that? And that's what that is about, building those relationships with faculty and staff as well here. This is their time to make that network and create that so that they have those resources, they have that connection, and they have that support while they're here on campus. And so a very large part of that is also our faculty and staff. So it's important that your student goes up to their professors and goes and talks to them, that they actually go and see them and introduce themselves, whatever that will look like this fall right now. But it's important for them to do that with staff as well. We have lots of connections and can really help our students. So encourage your student to go ahead and start building their network now. And as I said before, encourage them to seek that help if they need it. So whether it's our counseling services, career services, it's never too early to start working on internships or finding a job or anything like that. Never, never too early. And then our tutoring services are always available to our students. So a few things that you should do in order to help your student, and these aren't just the first semester, these are the entire time that your student is here at the University of Memphis. So first, listen to what they have to say. Your student may call you and need to vent a little bit, and that's okay, but listen. They may say some stuff that you may, cock your head out a little bit, but just know that it's a good thing that they're calling you and wanting you to listen. So instead of jumping right in and trying to solve the problem, ask them, how are you going to handle that? Take this time to put it in their corner. Let them handle it. Let them build those resiliency skills and the problem solving skills to let them really kind of take this time. So it's really important to kind of ask them how they're going to handle it. So end every conversation with go to class. It is important that they're going to class in any way that it is. So encourage them to go to class. Set those expectations that we talked about earlier with your student prior to every semester. It's important to have those conversations each and every semester because things change. Those, GPAs are affected, what they did the last semester, is that scholarship still there, things like that. So it's important to have that conversation each and every semester. Be understanding of the demands of college. College is a lot different than high school. Even if your student was a dual enrollment student, those demands are going to be a little bit different, particularly if they're here on campus. students are on this campus at all hours of the night. I am not here, but they have interviews and study groups and all sorts of things. So be understanding that they may be out late and they are actually getting some work done. Ask open-ended questions. So this is a great way to kind of get some more information. So ask them who their professors are, how classes are going, what new friends they've met, things like that. Be really, truly interested in what this new life it is. Try not to don't try to guilt them or anything like that. Just ask those open-ended questions and be interested in this new life that they are creating. So embrace the University of Memphis traditions. We want you to be part of our Tiger family just as much as your student is. So wear blue on Fridays, come to athletic events, be part of our campus, come to parent and family weekend, walk over the pedestrian bridge over the railroad tracks, do all of the same things. So because you are here and you are very much part of our traditions as well. So we really want you to stay connected as well. So great way to do that is to join the Parent and Family Association. There is a lot more information on our website about that. So it's memphis.edu/PFA. So we would love to be a part of that, but there's all sorts of other ways for you to stay connected, whether it's being a part of our Tiger Talks, being a part of our e-news, checking out our website and the resource hub that we just published today, and really just kind of being part of the entire family experience. So I want to say thank you first and foremost. Your students may not say it throughout this journey. I'm sure they will at some point, but I really want to say thank you for being here and watching this and being part of your students' education. And just leaving you with this quote, because I think it's really important to really think about the fact that we really want our students to do well, and you want your children to do well, and you want them to be resilient and to approach the world with zest and to have those truly satisfying relationships in their life. And so we want to make sure that you have that opportunity to really be a part of that and have it. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. Here's our contact information, and we really do look forward to working with you over the next few weeks, next few years, excuse me. But we will be doing these Tiger Talks. And then if we have any questions, I think Rachel's going to come on and join us. Rachel, have any questions? I think Rachel's going to come on.
Hello, is it working?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Have any questions? I think Rachel's going to come on and join us.
So I think the first couple of questions are just some of the basic ones, but we'll kind of start out with, how does my student register for classes?
So your student will have any questions? Gonna come on.
Hello, is it working?
I think you might have to.
Awesome.
I think you might have to turn yours off.
Oh, my audio. So
I think you might have to turn off your YouTube.
Questions are just some of the basic ones, but we'll kind of start out with. Oh, it was mine that was going. I'm sorry. Okay, technical difficulties. We'll redo it. So the first question was, how do students register for classes?
So students are going to register. So once they go through new student orientation, the portal system, they are going to meet with an advisor after that point. So our students will register for classes after they meet with their advisor. So they may be able to do that on the call with their advisor. If not, there will be orientation guides and staff members who will be available to help them through that, walk them through that process. And so they do that through their My Memphis portal. So where they do everything on campus, it is all through their My Memphis portal. So they'll do that on the student tab there.
And then do they have to know their major once, like, because orientation starts today, so do they have to know their major and like what they want to do for the rest of their lives?
They do not. So luckily we do have a great system, and we know that new students don't often know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. There are a few of them out there. Typically our nursing and engineering majors are the ones that know, but it's okay. So most students will start out with our academic counseling services, and that advisor will help to work them through that process and make sure that they kind of have a plan. Our career services office also has some career specialists that are available to help students kind of work through and see if there are any other majors they want to explore or what careers they might want to be interested in. But they've got some time.
Nice. So, as part of, we had some questions come through about residence life. So, when do students kind of need to fill out their housing, and where in that process do they kind of put their preferences as far as dorms and rooms and roommates and stuff?
So this year is a brand new system. And so I know Residence Life is working through it as well. But if your student is interested in living on campus and they have not already applied, they should do so as soon as possible. So the way it will work with our residence halls now is that students will actually get to pick their own room. So they will not be assigned a room, they will get to pick one. So they will be assigned a time based on when they signed up in the housing portal as to when they can choose their room. So at that point, they will have whatever rooms are available to them. So unless they're part of a group, or if they're part of one of our living learning communities or honors hall or things like, some of our specialized groups won't get to pick, but the vast majority of our students in our residence halls will get to pick. And so they will be assigned a time when they can go into the system, the housing portal, and they can actually pick their room. And so they can either go in with a roommate. If they did not list a roommate, they need to email Residence Life. So it's reslife@memphis.edu. And they can email to kind of be put together as roommates. And then that means that both of them can choose at the same time. If they do not have a roommate, they can go in and select a room. And then someone then later would come back and select a room after that. And that would be their roommate. Or they can select a room that already has someone in it, and that would be their roommate.
So, and we had a question come in through the YouTube channel, and it was talking a little bit about, because the campus is closed down for visitors right now, is there a way where parents and students can kind of take a tour of the residence hall and see what they need to bring?
Yeah, so there are residence hall tours on their website. They are available on there, I believe, every one of the residence halls, so you can get a sense of what they look like. I promise they're just as small as they look. It's okay, they get used to it, I promise. So yes, and then there's also a list of things that students can bring as well, as part of that. We will also have later on in the summer, we will have Residence Life as one of our Tiger Talks. So they will also help to put that out as well. And then we'll have some really great tips from our parents, current parents as well, who will give you some good tips on what to bring as well that may not be on that list.
Yeah, which that is coming up next week, correct? Our parent panel, Tiger Talk.
Yes. So this is a really wonderful group of parents who have been on our panel before. And so we are so lucky to have them back again. They are expert parents and really kind of have some really great advice to share.
That's awesome. So we got a couple questions come in via email about scholarships and financial aid. So where do students find the information based on their financial aid that they've been given, or scholarships that they've received, and that kind of stuff?
So everything is listed in their My Memphis account. So under the accounts tab, it has a money sign. There is the financial aid award. So underneath that, what they're looking for on that is all green check marks. So if there's one that's listed that has a red flag, students, there is some sort of documentation or something that has to be done on that one. So students can look at that and make sure that all of that is clear. As long as it's clear, they have their financial aid package. They can click on that and they can see everything that they have been awarded, and they can either accept or decline any of that. So say your student, so a question we get a lot of times is on loans. So maybe you get $1,000 loan. You don't want to take all of it. Your student won't need it for the year. They can actually reduce that in there. So they don't have to take the full $1,000 or whatever it is that they're offered. They can kind of work within that too.
And I know when we've done in-person orientations, we've got this kind of question as a follow-up. So can you start paying, if you have to take out a loan, can you start paying on it immediately, and kind of how does that work?
Yes, so you can start paying on it immediately. So the way it works is all student loans are through the federal government. So once they're they're pushed out. So students have them, which would be after the start of classes. So say in like October, you decide you want to pay on it. You can go in and set that login up, and it's the same thing as FAFSA if I'm remembering correctly. And then at that point you can go in and pay, and so that's at any point in time. So that's always a nice little bonus if your student works an extra job, or little extra money or something like that. That's always a good one. That tax return or something like that, that's a good way. I know that's hard for all of us to do though.
So we did get some email questions too, as part of like orientation and registering for classes. Students kind of get, and they'll talk with their advisor about it, obviously, but how does their placement work as far as like being put in the appropriate math class for what they need to be in?
So right now, students are being based on the ACT math score is our understanding. And then they will, if for any reason they would need to do anything additionally, their advisor will let them know about that, and they can or some
and they'll talk. Cool. Sorry, was trying to look at one of the questions and it went crazy. So we talked about that as far as like financial aid is available. And I know you talked a little bit about it in your presentation, but just to kind of reiterate, can parents see, is there a process so how parents can see what the financial aid looks like, and how do they access if students let them in that process of like viewing the student's account?
So we do not have anything like that. So unfortunately, I know some of you may be familiar with that if your student goes to another institution that has that available, but we do not. So our recommendation is to sit down with your student. We highly recommend that your student does not share their password with you, only because, well, various reasons, but particularly because that password is used for everything on our campus. So we do single sign-on on our campus. So having that password also gets them into their email, into their classes, things like that. And we would certainly never want your student to be accused of anything anything bad in terms of academic impropriety. So that's one of the prime reasons why we don't want them to share their password. So unfortunately, no. So I would encourage you to have them log in. They can screenshot things for you. They can share it with you. If you are, really want that access, there is a form that your student can fill out, and then it would be put on their record. It does not give you access though. It doesn't create a portal so that you see the same things. So it would just be on their record, and you would be able to call or something like that and access it that way.
And that just gives you access to their Tiger Express account, right?
Oh, so yes. So the one thing we do have access that we can give parents is authorized user access as part of Tiger Express. So that is the bill paying system. So your student can go in even now, and make you an authorized user. So through that system, which is the bill, so you can see all of that. I know it's cruel. I'm sorry. So sorry. We're working on it. I promise. But they can make you an authorized user, so you can see the bill and you can actually make payments on that system. And that will create a separate login for you to be able to see their bill. But we don't have anything like that for financial aid or grades or things like that.
And then can you talk a little bit about, and we'll include it in the email that goes out, but the Tiger Resource Hub and what topics are available there, and how that is going to be kind of used in conjunction with new student orientation, but for parents?
Yeah, we are really excited about this. So this is your resource hub. So this is where all the information that you would have gotten at orientation is right now for parents. And so this is going to live on our website. It's just memphis.edu/PF resources. So you have it all the time. And we will update this as anything changes. But it has everything from what is academic advising, what does the new student orientation system look like, books and technology. So what do you need to know on those to help your student, parking. We also have more information on student records, how to encourage your student to get involved, health, wellness, and safety. There's more information about housing and dining. some student academic success pieces. So a little bit more information about tutoring and our writing center, counseling center, things like that, that can really help your students. So that is really kind of your hub to kind of process that information. And so the nice part about it being on our website too is that you always have access to it. You can always kind of see that, and it's updated. And you don't have to remember back from doing orientation 2 years before when you need that information.
So I know this is going to be the like hot topic question that everybody wants to know the answer to, and including us. But we did get the question: is the U of M going to be? What's the fall situation going to look like as far as classes?
We all want to know, and we totally understand. Totally and utterly understand. We want to know too. And our true hope at the university that has been represented by every person in leadership is that we will be on campus in the fall with any and all protocols that need to occur to make sure that our students, our faculty, and our staff are safe and healthy. It is our hope. My understanding, and this may change, so caveat as of May 21st, is that we are hoping that a decision will be made by mid-June. So that is our hope at this point, and we will communicate that out as soon as we know anything. So if anything major like that were to come down, we send out an email immediately. I will say that as well, if you are not already on our parent and family e-news list, that is a really great way to stay connected. We do send out emails. Typically, you only get an email before the fall and the spring semester with information, but right now we have been sending out a lot more information to make sure that all of our parents are have the communication that they need. And also as well, our Parent and Family Association, as part of that, you get emails every other week during the fall and spring semesters, and you get one every 3 weeks during the summer. So that's an extra built-in layer of communication. So you get things, dates, deadlines, information kind of continuously throughout the year. But all of our parents will be communicated with, and we will make sure that we get everything we can out to them.
Yes, and we got that question coming through YouTube, and I can answer that really quick of just like, will you get a link to the resource hub? And absolutely. So if you so far have been getting those emails, we've been sending them out on Mondays. It'll go out Tuesday this week because of Memorial Day, but we will get that sent out as part of that, and it'll kind of just stay in that email every week. So if you need to look at it, that is where it will live. We also wanted to, I was going to mention, they have some like working committees at the university to figure out when we're going to come back. So like we said, we'll keep you updated with that. And I think you should have gotten an email as our parents group from Dr. Rudd today about that. So my kind of other question was, when will the Hope Scholarship show up in students' My Memphis account? And like, what might be some of the steps if they're missing that?
So that one kind of depends on the student, but I believe what they're usually waiting on is the final transcript from your student's high school, is typically what may be the holdup. So that would be something that if it's not showing up by like July, I would recommend that you might need to speak with the financial aid office, and we can check in to see if that is what is missing, or if there's something else that's missing. But typically that is what kind of the final delay on actually putting it on the student's account. It usually shows up on theirs, but just in case on the other end, when the actual money that's there.
And talking a little bit about transcripts, just for clarification, like an official transcript has to come from your student's high school. It can't be one that they have like printed out or mailed, and it has to be mailed from the school to the admissions office, correct?
Yes, and high schools are very familiar with doing that, but it can't be something that you have that you photocopied that you walk up here. Like that's unfortunately not what works. But yes, those requests, your student's high school should have a pretty easy request process. And be able to do it by
now. Right. And in normal circumstances, I would be like, trust the high school. Like it'll get sent. But if you are still worried about that, you may want to double check and like check in with your high school counseling office, because I bet they are a little out of sorts like everyone else.
Yes. And just know too, right now, our financial aid office works very diligently. They really, really do. And I know sometimes There may be frustrations. Fingers crossed you have none, but they do work very hard. And right now they're particularly focused on summer aid to make sure that any students who are coming in have summer aid. So if you do have questions about fall, it may be slightly delayed due to that right now, only because they want to make sure and get those students who are coming in for summer fixed. And then, make sure our fall students are fixed too. But they'll get you, I promise. They work.
Yeah, we got an email kind of coming in asking about touring the campus and what that situation is going to look like. And this particular family was going to try to come the first week of June. Can you talk a little bit more about if the campus itself is open, and then like when we anticipating that kind of looking like?
So that may be too early to have any staff members back on campus who would, or students typically give tours before. So that would be unfortunate that I don't know that we would have anybody. There is a virtual tour that's online. I know it's not quite the same, but that would be my main thing. There are some people on campus, but it's beautiful. We promise. It's great.
Yeah, and it's
not most ideal time.
Yeah, I think her specific question, she was asking a little bit about the theater and fine art building, and like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think normally on a summer we have an open campus and we would say like, you're more than welcome to come and take a look around by yourself. But as of right now, like the campus is still like closed to visitors and outside.
Yeah.
Correct?
So
okay.
all of the buildings are actually locked. Okay. So right now, yes, normally we would encourage a family, if it didn't work with their schedule or something like that, to stop by, come on campus, walk around. The building's open, feel free to kind of walk in, that's something like that. But right now, all of the buildings are locked. So with the exception, there's a very few student buildings that are open at the moment. So yes, unfortunately, no, you wouldn't be able to see those right now. Hopefully though, if everything kind of goes okay, I would anticipate maybe by July, thinking about what we have like going on right now, but obviously we will let you know, and that will be made clear to any of our students as well when tours reopen.
Cool. Well, I think that is kind of most of the submitted questions. We can kind of do a last call for the next couple of minutes if anybody wants to type them into YouTube and we can get them answered. But other than that, I think we're really excited just about hoping to see students and everyone soon. And then next week, same time, same place. It'll look like exactly the same as this, but we will have, I think we have like 4 or 5 parents signed up for our parent panel.
We have 6. So yeah. So we have a really great group of parents who will be on for our parent panel. They're seasoned parents, seasoned experts. So I believe we have a couple that have one that just graduate, a few that have had students who have graduated and still have students here, ones who have kind of gone through the gamut. They're involved in different things. So lots of great questions for them. So feel free, anything you need to ask them. I will say this next week too, but we don't censor them. So they will give you very honest answers. I may have to caveat with, I would not recommend that, but it's an honest answer. And so we want to make sure that you hear some honest answers from parents about what has worked for them and what has not worked, because everyone has a different philosophy. As I kind of talked about in my presentation, we encourage you to do this, but obviously it's all based on your own student and what they need and what you need too. So we want to make sure that you hear from different voices as well. And there are definitely different personalities on that panel. So you will get some different opinions.
And I think what makes that panel so great, and especially like for everyone watching now, and if someone, if you are watching it later after we've recorded it live, like please feel free to send us your questions. Like, you're honest, you want the answer, you want it shot straight from a current parent that will give you that. Absolutely. So send those into us and we will kind of keep a record of them, and then we will go through them next Thursday, which will be super fun. So we did get one last question coming through on YouTube, and it said, do y'all still plan on doing Frosh Camp?
So as of right now, July and August are still on the schedule. So if your student is interested, I would encourage them to sign up. Frosh Camp is a wonderful experience. It may be it will be different this summer. But at this time, July and August are still open for students to sign up for. So would recommend if you and your student are comfortable with that, definitely do that. It's a really, really great experience.
Well, awesome. I think that is the end of our questions. And do you have anything else you want to add?
Just thank you so much. We really we say this often, and you'll hear from us, but we really are here for you. Anything and everything you want to ask us about, you've got a concern, anything like that, venting, anything like that. So we are here for you. We will try and solve any issues that you've got. If we don't know the answers, we will find out who does. So please feel free to reach out to us and be part of this and be part of your students' journey. We want you part of it. They want you part of it, even if they don't say it. So,
It's funny.
Right. Thank you all so much. We will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.